Good morning. Usually I'm up here talking about church finances, so you'll be pleased to know that I have no charts or graphs. To talk about the future, first I'm going to put my glasses on. To talk about the future, I'm going to talk about the past, my past. I grew up in First Congregational Church in San Rafael. For those not native to the Bay Area, San Rafael's in central Marin County, north of the Golden Gate Bridge. So I've been in congregational or UCC churches my entire life. My story from the beginning is not that unusual. My parents' story, however, is more interesting and illustrates what I want to talk about, so I'll start there. All four of my grandparents immigrated here as children. My dad's parents from Scotland, my mom's from Italy. My dad grew up in Sausalito, and family life was centered around the Presbyterian Church, a very loving, supporting family. My mom grew up Catholic in dairy country in western Marin County, but in a house dominated by her father's alcoholism and abuse. It was bad enough she left home at 12 to live with friends in San Rafael. Two very different upbringings. My mom was spiritual, but had rejected organized religion. She was also blessed with a wonderful singing voice. Untrained, couldn't read music, but was good enough to sing in amateur Andrews Sisters type trios as a teen and young adult. In 1941, my dad's father was a volunteer civilian chaplain at Fort Cronkite and Fort Baker, two small Army bases in South Marin, basically there to guard the Golden Gate and the Bay. On December 7th, 1941, he was in the middle of a service when an officer appeared at the rear of the church and announced the bombing of Pearl Harbor and ordered all active duty personnel to their units. The remaining people were military families in the church. The service immediately changed to a prayer service. On that day, all across America, churches opened their doors to anyone who wanted to come in and pray. My mom and her friend decided that's what they wanted to do. So they left their apartment, walked to the nearest church, and that church was First Congregational Church of San Rafael. So on a day that transformed the world, filled with death, destruction, and horror, God opened a door and my mom walked through it. She liked what the minister had to say, but really liked and joined the choir, eventually became a member of the church. The music spoke to her. My dad would turn 18 a year later, join the Army, fight in France, Belgium, Germany through the end of the war. When he came home, he attended the Presbyterian Church in Sausalito. During that time, there's a rather robust organization called Christian Endeavor, a young adult and youth ecumenical ministry, I understand is still going on. Both my mom and dad were members and agreed during one meeting to organize a party. They met at a soda fountain for their not official first date. They later officially dated and were married in 1948 in the Congregational Church that my dad had since joined. I came along in 1951, so I started sitting in choir lofts approximately 9 months prior to my birth. I fortunately inherited whatever singing voice I have from my mom, as my dad, as he said many, many times, couldn't carry a tune the length of his nose in a bushel basket. He loved music, but really couldn't sing. I sang in the youth choir at church, and when I turned 13, because apparently 13 you're no longer a youth, I went up to the adult choir director and asked to join the adult choir. He looked me straight in the eyes and said, "Well, perhaps we should wait until your voice stops changing." And I said, "Okay." A while later, I joined the adult choir. As Pastor Brenda used to say, when you sing, you pray twice. I quickly found out that music is how God speaks to me. Your sermons are great, no offense. But, you know, I enjoy the rehearsals as much as I do singing Sunday mornings. When we sing an anthem for you, we don't get to hear it the same as you do. I hear a couple people around me, and that's about it. I don't hear the whole like you do. During rehearsals, I do get to hear various sections practicing their parts. I get to hear how they interact. I see God's hand in the whole. I see God's hand in various small sections. I see God's hand in a single beautiful line, or in the accompaniment Jenny plays so beautifully. We are truly blessed to have Jenny here, and I essentially get a free mini concert during rehearsals. She's so talented that while playing her part, she's also listening to us singing, and when the basses veer away from the composer's intended path, she hears that, and the little finger on her left hand that generally plays the bass notes will hit the proper note harder for us to hear and get us back on track. So I am grateful for Jenny's talent, and particularly the little finger on her left hand. Music harmony can be very even, with notes in parallel to each other as they move through the music, almost like a wave. There are other times when they weave, so they'll go like this. And that too is beautiful. As they weave, they can cross, and when they get close, those two notes can sound dissonant. Dissonance is usually defined as a lack of harmony, but used correctly, it can lead to beautiful, unexpected harmonies. Some of my favorite anthems for the beauty of the earth by John Rutter, for example, use dissonance in that way. So some dissonance is not a bad thing. I got a special gift of being able to sing with my mom in a choir. Ken Raisler and I also share that gift of being able to sing in this choir with our daughters. There's a gift of being able to sing, but the greater gift is being able to hear it, to feel it. I've missed that these past few years, and I'd like that gift back for all of us. I'd like to have a formal choir back with anthems for all of us. I believe it's essential to our ministry. I have seen how God's music can change a life, like my mom, who ended up on a much different path than the one her life started on. I can imagine a world of harmony up here and in here and out there. I can imagine that harmony being an invitation to be here. There is a balm in Gilead to make the wounded whole. There is a balm in Gilead to heal the sin-sick soul. And to me, that balm and the harmony it brings is music. Thank you.